like the technical side. I believe that the Soroban virtual machine and in general Stellar, the tech behind Stellar is really great. I mean, like, I'm here for the tech, and the tech is awesome.
You need the golden chains when you say that, you know? I'm here for the tech, I'm in it,
exactly.
in it for the tech. All right, everyone. Hi, this is Sohail from TEACHMEDEFI. We recently partnered with Stellar, and we're here at the annual conference of Stellar Meridian 2024 in London, and we get to sit down with Tommaso from Xycloo Labs. Hey, Sohail here. Thanks for tuning in. Real quick before we begin, if you enjoyed this episode, if you learned something, please consider to follow or subscribe or share this episode. That helps us out a lot. It helps us to reach more people and to spread quality education across the space about crypto and Web3. Also, if you're part of a crypto project or represent one and you would like to come on the show or do sponsoring, please get in touch with us. And lastly, everything we talk about today is for educational purposes and no financial advice. Enjoy the show. All right, everyone. Hi, this is Sohail from TEACHMEDEFI. We recently partnered with Stellar, and we're here at the annual conference of Stellar Meridian 2024 in London. This is day 2. We did some interviews yesterday, more short form, but today we got this lovely room here, and we get to sit down with Tommaso from Xycloo Labs.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing? How's everything going?
Everything's doing all right. The conference is really great. I've got a bit of a cold here in London, but besides that, it's really going great.
That's awesome. What was your focus for the conference? Like more like networking or working on your project more, getting some inspiration for it? Like what was the focus of your?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess like mostly I came to the conference because like I was speaking, so I kind of had these 2 talks. First one about kind of a more really technical talk about reusing like the Soroban virtual machine to power off-chain use cases and applications. And another one was like a decentralization panel. And yeah, I mean, this was my first Meridian. So it kind of, I was really looking forward to it. Yeah, for networking also, like meeting all of the folks I've been working with for the past like 2 or 3 years in real life. So it, pretty much that. So
That's
meeting
nice.
all of these kind of great people and builders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to meet people in person, hey? When you're always online, it's kind of...
Yeah, it loses like a personal touch.
Yeah, I agree. No, conferences are good for that. So I talked to your brother yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
And we chatted about your project, but we also found out that I was in Milan as well. I did study there at Bocconi,
Nice.
So we bonded through that. And we talked a bit about Mercury and XycLoans, was it?
Yeah, XycLoans.
XycLoans, okay. Perhaps we start with the data indexing, which was Mercury, I believe.
Yeah, that's like the product we've been focusing the most on.
Yeah. So what is that about? Maybe we just talk first about data indexing in general.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is it needed in the blockchain space?
Yeah, I mean, like in general, when you work with blockchains, right, you have all of this kind of public data. But like the blockchain itself is not really equipped to kind of get this data and display it in a nice way to clients, which might be users, data analytics providers, or really like UIs, bots, and that kind of stuff. So you kind of need a service that takes this on-chain data and reorganizes it into a way that is actually cheap and efficient to query. So you kind of have all of this data service that pretty much gets data from the network, keeps it in a database, and allows users to retrieve it.
So in terms of data indexing, so you're basically offering data in a way that's easy to query, and that's probably important for applications that are built on chain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So for example, is that already live on Soroban, and are you already cooperating with other DeFi projects that are using it?
Yeah, sure. So we're kind of like right now the most used data platform on Soroban. I mean, that's really pretty much because our only focus is Stellar, mainly Soroban. I mean, I'm very experienced with Soroban, and we kind of all our resources are on that side of the product. So we are also kind of bonded with the community. Everyone in the community kind of knows us, and we know them. So we kind of partnered up with some of these DeFi protocols that are already live, you have, for instance, Soroswap. You also have there's SDF people that are using our products for stuff like passkeys, and probably also others. I don't remember them right now. But you can also have like this Aquarius indexer, which the folks at Palta Labs made, as well as a Phoenix indexer. We've also like, personally indexed a blend. There are the guys at the ClickBaseDebt fund that are using our service to kind of power this new really great brand dashboard. So yeah, it's, I'd say we have a pretty good coverage right now with the ecosystem, and we are still like in beta. Like we've launched, and we are not still charging for the service because it's it's still beta. But yeah, it's been working great. It's been already like a year and a half, 2 years that we've been building it, probably even more. So yeah, it's working great for now.
Right. Are there other data indexing solutions on Soroban already, or is it like, are you like pretty much the essential provider right now? Or
I mean, I believe there are already, but from what I understand and what I know, they are either like focused also on many other chains, so they don't like have all of this infrastructure that is really optimized for Soroban. Like they don't work with the Stellar nodes at a low level, and kind of so that kind of like makes them limited compared to us. Or like if there are other solutions like ours, like they're not, I mean, they're not advertised or known, well known within the community. So yeah, like on the front of like low level data indexing, we kind of have like this, like it's a nice presence within the ecosystem as good coverage.
Yeah, let's double click on that, because my experience with data indexers has been like, for example, with Subquery. I know
they're here on Stellar.
Oh, are they? Yeah, okay. And they cover like loads of chains, as far as I know. Yeah, just like what is your model like? Because are you just focused on Stellar, Soroban, or how do you think about that?
I mean, like our like the philosophy behind the product is actually that we want to be really an expert in the like in the environment we're building in, and like I reckon it's not possible like for me to be an expert in Stellar, Ethereum, Solana, Aptos, and all of these kind of chains. So it's not like a sustainable model for us to like index also these other chains. I think that the competitive edge we have on Stellar is due to the way our products are built. So we kind of, I mean, they're built specifically for Stellar, right? We interact with core nodes. We are using the Soroban virtual machine during the actual indexing to have like this kind of runtime indexers. And this is a huge advantage. Like the users recognize it. And that's why like most DeFi protocols that are on Soroban right now and are not running their own infrastructure, like Aquarius, for instance, they have like their own infra, but the others like are probably relying on our products, and that's because like we have this competitive advantage that makes the developer experience better. It makes the product more functional. So like like our design is really like business to business. It's low level data. We give developers the choice of what data they want to index. And like these choices are like translated at runtime into an actual like indexing data process workflow. So yeah, I think like our model is like being really focused on one thing and doing that really nice and as efficiently as possible.
You mentioned like high level nodes, and I think you made a distinction there. Like you differentiated what you're doing from like data indexers that are kind of multi-chain. Can you tell me about that? Like
I mean, like it's not the fact about being multi-chain or not. It's actually about how you run your infrastructure. So there are indexers that like get the data from, let's say, like RPC providers. They like are polling stuff, for instance, and then there are indexers that are actually connected with the actual data stream that goes on within the actual core node. And those indexers are of course much lower latency and a much broader data access.
What's it like to work with your brother?
No, it's really nice. I mean, we've always been really close.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt natural. We started, we blended in, and we both like this.
Right.
So we kind of, it's really nice. Like, it's one person if there's something I think that doesn't work, I can easily tell him and he won't get mad.
Yeah.
And the same, and the other way around, like it's a bond you generally don't have with
Right.
people that are not like within your family.
Right.
So,
right. Who's the older one?
He's.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I also wanted to talk about trust and data. So, for example, let's say, like, how can we trust the data that's indexed? So, for example, let's say an action is triggered based on indexed data, but it turns out the data was actually wrong, or it was something malicious. So, how are you thinking about that? For example, is there like a crypto economic security concept around it, like staking and slashing, to ensure that you behave those data indexers? Like, how does that work, and how do you ensure there's trust?
For us personally, we don't have any kind of tokenomics or that kind of stuff. I personally think it makes everything more complex, and that like it's an additional layer that I don't think is needed. Like, our philosophy is that all the data that we get is data that we get from the chain. It's data that it's actually ledger transitions and ledger data. It's some data that anyone can verify. Like, running a Stellar core node, it's really cheap. You can do it like on a 8 gigabytes of RAM machine. You don't really need to care about how many cores. And also, like, the storage is about, like, right now on the mainnet ledger is about like 9 or 10 gigabytes. So it's really cheap to run a Stellar core node. And all of the data that we get within our service is actually the only data we get within our service is this kind of on-chain data, which is verifiable. And besides from that, we have like virtual machines that process this data because we are a cloud indexer. So we have created a VM that kind of interprets developer input about how they want their data processing workflow to look like. And this VM is actually public, so you can really just bind your own Stellar core node within our VM and execute your program and assure that the data we provide comes with integrity. And we trust this design because it's actually like trusting the actual chain. We don't need to have like many indexer nodes like that are controlled with multi-sig or stuff like that. To me it's just like an overstructure that it's not needed. We just base ourselves off, and we just feed our indexer with on-chain data, which is verifiable, and the way we process it, it's open source, so anyone can kind of recreate it, and if there's an issue with the data calculation, they can just choose to either run it on their own nodes, or like just don't trust the service anymore.
Okay.
But like the point is that data is verifiable, integrity is verifiable, and there's no reason why we would like tamper with this data maliciously, because it's something that other people can verify, and it's not good for business, right?
Right. That's true. Let's switch to XycLoans perhaps, and talk about flash loans. I think that's probably a topic that's a bit difficult to wrap your head around as like an end user type person, but perhaps we can try to kind of like talk about it and what it means. So like, what are flash loans, or what is your protocol and what are flash loans?
Yeah, I mean, let me start by saying that like Soroban is still early, right?
Yeah.
Like there are these ledger limits that are, Stellar has been historically a very trustable chain. It's been very resilient. It halted just once some time ago, and like the issue was fixed. Like the new quorum slices upgrade made sure of that. So like the core developers and the validators approving the changes with Soroban are being very cautious with the actual limits. So there is still not much space for flash loans to come in, because flash loans blend in many protocols at once in a single atomic transaction. And you have like this problem right now on Stellar where this kind of hits these limits that are here to make sure that we have a nice transition from like this very classic payments pretty much only chain to like this new programmable economy. So like just as first point, like flash loans are not being used right now in Soroban, like, but the primitive is there, the protocol is there, it's also on mainnet. And I guess that if I were to describe what flash loans are, I'd say, well, first of all, users shouldn't directly interact with them. It's something I think should be abstracted because, like as a concept, is a very crypto-native concept. There's no such thing in traditional finance. Pretty much, you're just like borrowing money from lenders and using that money within the same transaction. And if you fail to repay the lenders within the same transaction, the transaction will fail. So there is no like risk on the lender side, besides, of course, impermanent loss. So that's one. So this is, I mean, like the technical definition of flash loans, but in reality, what they allow you for is kind of like making stuff more efficient within DeFi. So let's say you have you're creating leverage positions, right? And you kind of have like this workflow where you are borrowing, you're making swaps, maybe supplying to other protocols, borrowing, and you have all these really mechanical actions that you use to create leverage. For instance, you can just use flash loans to get at your desired capital, and then you can pay up the difference that you would actually have used to deposit the money initially. So they're kind of like this facilitator also for user liquidations. It makes the market more fair because if there's enough liquidity on flash loan protocols or like protocols in general that support flash loans, that means that anyone can create liquidation bots, and they don't need initial capital. So whoever has the best bot wins, which is a healthy economy. So yeah, they're like DeFi facilitators in my opinion. They're useful, but right now with Soroban, it's still a bit early. We're starting to kind of create some bots around that, but I'm pretty sure they won't fit right now into the ledger limits.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you why do we need flash bots, but I think you kind of answered it in terms of they make the markets more efficient, I guess, because like I guess one of the use cases is, for example, arbitrage.
Also,
so you notice there's a price imbalance, and you kind of fix it, so to say, and you benefit from it then economically by fixing it.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of evens the accessibility of making the markets more efficient.
Right.
Of course, if the protocol has liquidity.
Right. So perhaps to zoom out a bit, you keep mentioning that obviously DeFi is young, or Soroban is young right now. So where do you see things going? Like perhaps to ask a more critical question, right? There's a lot of chains, there's a lot of saturation. DeFi is on a lot of different chains. Liquidity is overall an issue with a lot of chains, like to get liquidity on the chain, have it in these protocols. So how do you think about that? Like how can Soroban get more liquidity, have more efficient markets, and sort of differentiate itself from other players? Is there an edge that you see, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, like the obvious answer, which I think pretty much anyone will give you here, Stellar is like Stellar is really focused on this kind of real world assets, and it's so like since like its consensus protocol, consensus mechanism. So like you kind of can plug in with Soroban with all of these real world assets, and that's kind of probably what most people will bring up here. But like at a more like DeFi standpoint, like talking only about DeFi and without taking into account all of the stuff we usually talk about, I think that it's true. Soroban is really early, and I mean it's really new, and it's definitely not early in the DeFi ecosystem. There are chains that have a lot of liquidity, and right now, like we're definitely facing a liquidity problem on Stellar smart contracts because like we have little liquidity, and it's not enough for like institutional investors to come in heavy with lots of liquidity because it doesn't make sense for them. There is not enough like starting liquidity, so we are kind of like blocked within this period, and it's something like we need to figure out. There are already like opportunities, in my opinion. There are liquidation bots that are making like thousands of dollars in profits. There are like arbitrage opportunities. There are like lots of like delta neutral strategies that are useful and that they are achievable. And since no one is using them, there's a lot of opportunity there. But it's still early, and in terms of actual liquidity and user engagement, we definitely have to figure something, because there's not enough liquidity for like institutional investors to come in, and that's where like the game levels up. In terms of in the technical, so I guess that this is probably like the most critical thing. I'm also critical about this, but what I really like about Stellar, what I'm not, something that really makes me optimistic also about onboarding liquidity later on is actually like the technical side. Personally, like I believe that the Soroban virtual machine and in general, like the Stellar, the tech behind Stellar is really great. And the SDM is really efficient. You have this built-in support for parallelization. There's now work being done for parallelizing the actual core nodes, which is amazing, like lowering times to finality, and all of these while being proof of agreement, which in my opinion it's quite a big advantage, because we already have like this big asset, real world asset issuers. So proof of agreement like actually makes the network secure, in contrary to like common beliefs about Stellar. We also have like state archival coming up, so we should be able to kind of handle large volumes, and we should be able to do so efficiently. And like the interface for developers to build with Stellar is really nice. For instance, I've met with folks that are auditing smart contracts, and like they're confirming this. Like these guys are really experienced in many chains, and they're saying, yeah, Stellar is nice. It's nice to build with. It's relatively simple. You don't have like a lot of chain-specific complex stuff going on. You don't have like these callbacks and stuff that makes everything more, less secure and more difficult to build with. So like, there's kind of like definitely this technical advantage that we should tap in with, which is nice.
Right. Yeah, and I suppose the tooling you're working on is also going to help to build up the ecosystem and all that.
Yeah, it kind of relates to the fact that SVM is really great. We are actually using the Soroban virtual machine within our own tooling. We kind of have this runtime indexer that really makes it really easy to kind of get really great data insights in real time without having to kind of learn any new tech stack, and still be customizable for your own program. And that's really thanks to the way the SVM works. Yesterday I also gave a talk about this. I'm here for the tech, and the tech is awesome. We need to figure out
you need the golden chains when you say that, I'm here for the tech. It's
exactly.
in it for the tech. No, I get what you're saying. Lovely. Perhaps, to wrap it up, if someone wants to get involved with what you're building, developers or users, where should they go?
Yeah, I think that right now the best point of interaction with the Stellar community is the actual Stellar developers Discord. So just join there. You can start asking questions. There are even like Stellar core guys, there are community guys that are experienced that will answer them. They will help you. Like the community is really nice on that end. There is also like the Stellar global Discord server where it's more like community oriented, also about like price speculation and that kind of stuff. But really like the best way to get involved right now, and that's pretty much a call to action. Like if you're building DeFi, you have like some money to play around with, I would start with playing within Stellar DeFi. The opportunities are there. There is just not enough liquidity, which also makes it like for folks that don't have enough, like lots of money, it makes it really nice to kind of put money in. There are like 100% APIs also like on Blend right now in the backstop. It's crazy. So like as soon as we can like onboard more liquidity, it will be beneficial. It's a win-win situation, right?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tommaso. It was great. Thank you for doing the interview.
Nice.
And see you around.
Yeah, same.
Sweet. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about the Stellar ecosystem or any of the projects we talked about today in this video, check out the links in the description. And see you in the next one.